Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video. The final episode of our Crystal Ball trilogy for 2026 is going to be looking at segments. Keep watching to find out more. Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient. So Gary, we're talking about 2026. We've covered already the technology, we've covered the players, and now we're going to talk about where the market's going. And given our discussion so far, I don't think this is one we're going to disagree on too much. So I'm going to kick off this time because you've been quite verbose recently. I want to get a few words in. So I think there's two segments that are going to be really important. Surprise, surprise, lockers again and out of home. It's going to be a big deal, continues to be a big deal. It's going to take over more and more share from home delivery. But there is one other thing, and it's related to that. It's going to be cross-border out of home. So what do you think?
I wasn't sure where you were going with segments, if I'm absolutely honest. I thought we were going to talk about who's buying what and who's shipping what. But yeah, I think the whole subject of de minimis, it's probably going to take 3 years for the UK to do what Trump did overnight and sort of remove the de minimis to try to level the playing field around VAT for cheap goods coming into the UK. That's going to affect cross-border massively. When you say cross-border, it's almost paraphrasing China again, because that's where the majority of it is coming from. Well, we do import stuff from Europe and the States, Canada, et cetera, but it's dwarfed by the volume of product coming in from China.
And then we've got to remember, though, because I know that, of course, the UK is important and you're there, but I'm talking about the whole of Europe, which is a little bit specific because the UK is a one closed market at the moment, and then you've got the open market of the EU countries. And I reckon I'm a big, I'm a big fan of out of home, and I think we could talk about it for probably the next hour. But I think everyone's going to agree that out of home is developing. It's going to develop. Maybe in a second we can talk about any directions that it might develop in that are unexpected. Just to kick the subject off, I think that PUDOs are going to be sort of reinvented so that they become more attractive to both customers and the couriers and the store staff. But before we do that, just to finish on this point, because I think it's a really big one, as I've probably said about 5 times in our video casts before, I've sent stuff to and from Spain, locker to locker, and it's been amazing. Not just because I paid a fraction of the cost I would pay using traditional methods, but in a country where, I'm not saying it's good or bad, where there are different standards, different ways of doing things, where my language skills are sadly deficient. It's a lot easier to go to a machine and pick up my parcel or drop it off, knowing that it will be ready and waiting at that time. So I'm a real fan of this, and I think this could be a big deal.
I think so too, but I'll come at it from another angle. I'm thinking about the economics of it. So we're going back to my interpretation of segments, which is who's selling what to who. There are a couple of things here. One is we touched on China. There's a huge amount of cheap fashion, cheap other kind of household goods that are flooding in, particularly to the UK, but probably to other bits of Europe as well. But the other thing is, and I'm amazed, we've done quite a bit of recording today, and neither of us have said the V word.
Yeah, boy,
Had a big news. Vinted dominates the landscape of shipping at the moment. They are the customer. There are other customers available, but at the moment, they're the one you have to have if you're going to get growth and everything else. And that's fueled by the buying and selling of used goods, predominantly fashion again, many other categories. They even got vinyl records on there now, which I've not been brave enough to buy any from there yet, because I'm not sure. I can't feel the quality, Marek. I'm just nervous of what sort of condition they're going to be in. So I need to know they're going to be all right. But that is that a service that's dependent on everyone feeling a bit poor, and feeling a little bit a bit like I want to go through the wardrobe, or is it genuinely here to stay forever? Because if I was building my entire carrier infrastructure around the buying and selling of used goods, is that a long-term sustainable strategy? Or when economies refloat, when everybody feels a bit better about themselves, are they going to still dig through their wardrobe and sell stuff? Or are they going to go out to the shops and just buy what they want?
We've actually done a bit of due diligence work recently, and you know how it works. You look at what the trends are likely to be and so on. And most of the data we've seen at the Last Mile Experts suggests that actually this is here to stay, because there are several reasons for it. You've got the economic reason, which is important, but there'll always be people who, want to save a few pennies, and that's absolutely laudable. The second group, I think, are people who want to, keep the economy green. So instead of dumping something, they let someone else use it. So the people with a certain, let's call it a mission, an ecological green mission. And I think they're going to be people with hobbies like you that they find the item they want via that channel. So
Yeah.
you're into vinyl records, I'm into old cars. There are things that I just cannot buy new, that I'll buy. Well, in my case, it doesn't work with Vinted, but I'll buy on eBay, or there's something called Wallapop, I think, here in Spain, or OLX in Poland. So, but coming back to what I wanted to start with, this is a segment that is growing really fast. It's predicted to grow much faster than e-commerce overall. And surprise, surprise, this segment cannot survive without out of home, because it's just not viable with home delivery in most cases because of the value of the goods.
I think both of them are applying incredible downward pressure on pricing for carriers. You might pay a fiver. I might pay a fiver to have a 50 pound vinyl record delivered. I'm not going to pay £5 to have an £8 t-shirt delivered. I want that delivered for £2 or £1. If Vitaltus, suffering, Vitaltus is listening, €1 anywhere in Europe. That I respect his aim. I don't think he'll get there, but I respect it because that needs to be the model. So that's got his foot on the throat of the market price. And so is the inbound China stuff. If the whole objective of that is to undercut local supply, to get something direct, and that depends on cheap deliveries too. So if you're going to be attached to these massive growth engines, you've got to unpick your supply chain, your costs end to end, and pull every bit of cost out you can and make it as lean as possible. Because otherwise, organizations that have done that already and have already made these things the backbone of their strategy are going to take market share from you.
Actually, there's one point that I wouldn't imagine myself saying, but I'm not so sure because I've had this discussion with Vitaltus. So for those who are not in the know, Vitaltus is the CEO of Vinted Go. And yes, he does have a dream to have parcels for €1 everywhere. I'm not sure we'd manage €1 from Warsaw to Madrid, but within a country, with the efficiency of a really good out-of-home network, I don't think it's impossible, particularly if you bear in mind that actually the first mile and last mile don't exist in that model because and this is the big difference, it's the customer that delivers to the locker and picks up. So you only have a middle mile. And if you develop it to the point that the locker becomes an exchange point, so you actually have a significant percentage of people actually literally just using the locker to drop off and pick up. Let's watch this space. It might be possible. Vitaltus, if you think we've missed something, then please comment below, as well as anyone else from the audience. We're slightly overrunning, Gary. Is there anything else you think we've missed that's important on this topic?
No, I think we've given it a good ride, and I think it's going to be important. I think the market is in an interesting place, and we're very, very well positioned to watch what happens. So yeah, it's great to talk to you.
Gary, as usual, wonderful. We've wrapped up our trilogy. Finally, we got there. Hopefully, you audience will have enjoyed it. And other than Vitaltus, anyone else, if you have your comments, please add them below. Gary, I was looking at the subscriptions and realized that a huge number of our audience actually don't subscribe to watch our videos.
Really? That's outrageous. It's a bit like watching the BBC without your TV license. How can we keep it free if people aren't subscribing and letting us know they want more of this content? It's ridiculous.
And on top of that, if they're not subscribed, they don't get information about the latest hot episode where you can make one of your witty jokes and we can talk about something that is really important for our industry.
If I knew that a single act like that would make sure I got maximum time taking the mickey out of you, I'd be hitting subscribe in a heartbeat.
Well, look, so here we have it. Please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Click right now. The button should be there, or maybe there. Do it now and have it done.